everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I'll be making patches to decorate my tote bag. So first up is digitizing. I used InkStitch, which is an extension of Inkscape, to turn each character into an embroidery design. This is definitely the most time-consuming part because it takes a lot of time to adjust the nodes and all the other minor things to have to fix, but it's definitely really satisfying watching the design come together. The next step is to hoop the stabilizer. I'm using cutaway stabilizer and a 4x4 hoop. So now I'm just tightening the hoop. So after setting up my embroidery machine, I can now start to embroider. So first I will create the basting stitch, or it's just like a square stitch. And with this, it helps me know where to place my felt. So now I'm just eyeballing how much felt I need, and then I cut it up into the right size. And now I make another square stitch to tack the felt down. For patches, I think just floating the fabric, or felt in my case, is a lot easier than hooping the whole entire thing. So next I'm going to move on to the next patch. I'm going to digitize the BT21 character called Chimmy. First I measure out how big I want the patch to be, and then I create the outline. Once the outline is done, I adjust all the nodes so that they match the outline correctly. After that, I just start digitizing the image. So now I'm going to embroider the design onto the same stabilizer as the one I did with Psyduck, just to save on stabilizer. So I'm doing the same thing again. I'm creating the square outline and then cutting out a piece of felt to match the outline. Once it's been tacked down, I just digitize it as normal. Now that both are done, I'm going to cut out the jump stitches. For some reason, I'm not really sure, but on InkStitch, I choose the trim jump stitches option, but for some reason, my machine still doesn't trim the jump stitches, even though I know it has that ability. So if anybody knows why, please comment down below if you know the reason why this happens. I would really appreciate it. It's just that I don't want to spend this much time on trimming the jump stitches if my machine has that ability. Especially because one day I do want to start my own small business selling embroidered goods. And running a small business, I know that like time is money. So if I could, I would really not want to spend this much time trimming everything. So this is how it looks with all the jump stitches trimmed out. Next, I'm going to remove it from the hoop, and then I'm going to cut around it, and I'm going to try to cut it as close to the outline as I can. So the third patch, I'll be digitizing Gudetama. I'm going to leave the time lapse of how I embroidered all these designs in my video, but if you want a more in-depth tutorial of how I create patches, I recommend going to my channel and looking at my patch tutorial. It's the one where I digitize Kirby and I actually explain each step. Now I'm going to hoop the stabilizer again, the cutaway stabilizer. This time I'm using a bigger hoop. It's a 5x7 hoop. I'm using a bigger hoop because that way I don't have to switch out the hoops each time. With this bigger hoop, I can create more patch designs on the same hoop compared to the 4x4 hoop where I could only create 2 designs because I was limited by the space. Whereas with this hoop, I can create a few more designs without having to unhoop it again. As you can see, I moved my design to the very top left. This is again just to save space and leave me enough room for the rest of the embroidery patches that I will be stitching out. So this is the 4th patch that I'll be embroidering out. This is Ditto, and this is one of the easier designs that I digitize. This probably only took me around 10 minutes to digitize. I was really happy about the easier design because at this point I was getting really tired from all the digitizing. So So for this patch, I had to open up a new felt pack that I got from Daiso. I usually get my felt from the dollar store, but the dollar store didn't have the light purple color that I needed. But luckily Daiso had it. Unfortunately, it's quite a small piece of felt, so I won't be able to create that many designs with this one piece of felt. This is the last design that I'll be digitizing today. This is Ducklett. It's a Pokemon. Out of all the designs that I digitized today, I would say that this one was the most difficult, just because there was a lot of curves and turning points to this design. And this one also had like a few more colors as well. So I actually ended up getting the color wrong for this design. For the main body, it should have been a light blue color, but I ended up using white felt. So its main body is now white, which luckily still looks pretty cute. It just looks like a duck now, I guess. I'm now finally done stitching everything out. I also stitched out a panda bear that I created a while back. Now I'll just do the same thing as before. I'll cut out all the jump stitches first. Luckily these designs didn't have as many jump stitches, so it definitely didn't take me as long, which I'm very grateful for. now that that's done, I'm going to remove it from the hoop, and then I'm going to cut out the stabilizer first. Now I'm going to cut around each character as closely as possible to the outline. So the very last step I should do is add a piece of heat and bond adhesive to the back of the patch. That way when I iron it, it could stick onto my tote bag. But I ended up not really liking how it looked on my tote bag. Like, all the patches weren't very cohesive, it's just characters that I like. And I feel that it looks a bit too childish, so I ended up not sticking it onto the bag. So I'm pretty proud of how everything turned out. There's a few imperfections on the Psyduck and the BT21 character, but if you don't look too closely at it, it'll be fine. So this is my tote bag, and I didn't really think about how I'm going to place everything, so I just slapped everything on. So as I said before, I didn't really like how this looked. I think I might just remove a few patches and then only put a few on so it looks more cohesive. Everything looks too thrown in together randomly, so I'll have to think about exactly how I will place my patches. But that was it for this video. Thank you very much for watching.